friends, it's Carolyn Zook here with C Zook Stitch, and today is Saturday, September 7th, 2024. Welcome to my channel about cross stitch. I am so glad that you are here spending part of your day or your evening with me. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wild week. Classes started. For those who are new, welcome. I'm glad that you're joining us. I'm a professor at a small liberal arts college in Portland, Oregon, and classes started this week. It went well. I'm making it sound like it didn't, but it did. Everything went well. It's just, the campus goes from dead quiet to like super busy kind of overnight. So it's fun. There's a fun buzz in the air at the start of the school year. I teach 2 classes and I have an independent study. I'm also the campus pre-health advisor. So I'm busy. I'm keeping busy. Both of my classes are small, which is great, and the students are fantastic. So one of the classes is a new prep, meaning it's a class that we have not offered or taught, or that I haven't taught it before. We haven't offered it before, so it's a brand new class, which means there's a lot more work that goes into it, but I'm excited about it. So yeah, classes are underway. Week 1 is done. 15 more to go. But yeah, the students are great, and it is fun to be, just kind of around all the students, and people are energetic and all that. So that happened this week. We had a heat wave. We set a record. So I'm in the Portland, Oregon area in the Pacific Northwest, which if you're not familiar with the area, we are known for like very mild summers, low humidity in the summers, rain, a lot of rain, not so much over the summer. Summer is our dry season. But just overall more, not as extreme temperatures, right? When I moved here about, 22 years ago, when I first moved here, summers were like low to mid 80s. There would be a period of time over the summers where we would get into the 90s for a few days and then it would go back down. That was a very normal summer. I was like, this is great. I can handle this. I'm originally from the Midwest where it's heat and humidity. And then just over the years, it's gotten hotter and hotter and hotter. And so we set a record this week for latest, either we tied it or set it, for latest date in the season that we hit triple digits. So we hit 101, I think, a couple of days ago. Yesterday did not get as hot as they predicted. I think it was only like 94, 95, which is good. But the bad news is the reason why is because we have wildfire smoke that kind of kept the heat down a little bit because the smoke covered up the sun, so it didn't get as hot. So that's what we're dealing with right now. It feels disgusting out. It is not very hot right now. It's still like only like 10:30 in the morning. But it's just stale out. It's like they have air stagnation days. I don't know that that's what's going on. I think it's the wildfire smoke. So everything kind of has an orange glow to it. I sleep with my window open. I mean, when this wildfire smoke is really bad, I try not to because it's not healthy. I also have a fan in my window, which makes it doubly not healthy, right? Like I'm just bringing the smoke into my house. But I woke up with like a scratchy throat and just not feeling super great. And it's not because like I'm sick again or anything. It's the wildfire smoke. And you can just kind of see it. It's just this gross kind of haze. There's not really a breeze. It's just kind of hard to breathe out. So I'm ready for fall, folks. I am. This is not normal for us to be so hot so late. And yeah, it's different in early September than it is like if we had a 100-degree day in July, which we did. We had a lot of 100-degree days in July or upper 90s. It hits different, right? The sun is a little bit lower. Our days are shorter. So it's not quite the same impact as like at the height of everything in like late June or July. But we're not built for this. So that's what's going on here. So I'm a little like, okay, I'm over it. But anyway, it was a good week. It was an exciting week. Classes are underway. We're doing great. ABCingo is underway, which I will talk about here in just a minute. But before I get into that, let's do some August stats real quick. I don't know why I take off my glasses. I do this when I teach too. I'm trying to read my notes and I'm like, I have my glasses off because they're just readers. I just need them for close up. Um, and so like when I'm looking at you or like if you were my class, I'm like, I can see you just fine. I mean, I can't see you because you're in your homes and that would be a little creepy, no? Tap, tap, tap on your window. Sorry if anybody's watching at night and that freaked them out. Um, it's just me. It's just Carolyn. Don't worry. It's nothing scary. But I do that a lot when I'm teaching. I'm like, what are my notes saying? And I'm like, oh, I should put on my glasses. And then amazingly, I can read my notes. So August stats. I stitched for a total of 93 hours, which is okay. I mean, I did get sick. And so that took me out for like 4 or 5 days where I didn't do any stitching. I started the month with 67 whips. I had 2 new starts. One was Halloween Window, which I started with my friend Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime. I acted like I had to think about that. I didn't really. Karen's going to be my roommate at Stitching in the Wild. And I started Immortal by Lucy B. I finished 2 pieces. I finished Immortal by Lucy B. And I finished Beautiful Girl by TJ Designs, which you did see. It is at Acorns and Threads being framed as we speak. So I ended the month with 67 whips. So net 0. That's great. Although I would like to get the whip count down a bit. But what did I work on this week? I feel like I got a lot. I felt very accomplished this week. You know what I mean? I did finish. I haven't ironed this, so forgive me. The Bitty Bowl. This is by Pine Mountain Needles. It's a series. Unfortunately, you can't join the series. They send you these every month. There's a little bag, a mini bag, and this is going to be a pillow. This is the August series. So I showed last time I showed the bag that I had finished. Did I? No, I didn't because I had finished it and given it to Tammy. So you haven't seen the bag yet. Tammy is my finisher, Woodland Stitching Studio. Check her out. But this is the August, and this is going to be a pillow. It's very sweet, very cute. The bag was super fast. This took me 5.5 hours to stitch this. It was also very fast. And I'll iron it. Tammy, I'll iron it for you. I think I forgot to iron several of the pieces that I gave her last week, which I feel bad about. But I'll iron this, and you'll get this to turn into a pillow. So this is great. So August Bitty Bowl is done. I am planning to do maybe one more month of the Bitty Bowl this year yet. And then my goal is next year you'll be seeing them a lot. So what I do with these series type things like this counts, the whole thing counts as one whip, even though each month has 2 charts. So really it's 24, but it's not. Like I count it as one because it's like, in my mind, it's like when I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I'm done with August, but that's just a portion of it. So that's going to go on my year of whips for next year where I'm going to finish the rest of them. So I think I gave Tammy 2 months to finish, 2.5 months to finish maybe is probably what I did. I think. Yeah. And then, so I have 3 months finished now. I'm going to try to get 1 more month finished by the end of the year. That'll be 4 months. So I'll have 8 months to finish next year, which is going to be a lot, but they're quick, right? Like I can finish both pieces usually in about 3 days. So we're going to be seeing those a lot next year. Okay. So let's be prepared for that. Okay. So ABCingo. Kathleen asked, what's ABCingo? Are there directions? Great question, Kathleen. It is not too late to join us. So ABCingo is through the Facebook group that I co-run with my friend Robin, who's Bird's Eye Stitches here on Flosstube. Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge is the name of our Facebook group. Make sure you fill out the questions, otherwise we will have to deny you because there's so much spam and scam and all of that. We don't necessarily care what your answers are, but just we need to make sure that you're human and that you are interested in cross stitch. I think one of the questions is, who's your favorite designer? Just list a designer or a couple of designers, just so that we know that like you're legit, right? Like, so if you say, oh, it's too hard to choose or something like that, you know, anybody could say that. And so just like list a couple, like, hey, I'm working on these people right now. Nobody's going to hold you to it and be like, do you remember 5 years ago when you filled out the form, you said so-and-so was your favorite designer? You know what I mean? But we just need to make sure that you're legit and a human. We don't care what your answer. We're not going to deny you if you said a designer that we're like, oh, that's not really our style, so we're going to deny you. That's not it at all. The purpose is to make sure that you're a human being and that you're not a scammer. Okay? So Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge. The link is always in the description box below. So come over and join us. It's not too late. And what it is you have a bingo board, which is a 5 square by 5 square board. It's under the files in our group. And each evening I call a letter of the alphabet for the following day. So you're basically, the alphabet is your acrostic. So you pick projects and try to make them fit into the alphabet as an acrostic. Some people are using one project for the whole thing. I can't remember how many projects I have. I have maybe 6 or 7 projects for the whole thing. So you can definitely use one project for multiple things. Some people are starting new projects, have a mix of starts and whips. It does not matter to us. It's meant to be fun. And what you do is, for each letter that is called, when it's called, you stitch 100 stitches or 1 hour, whichever you decide. And then you can cross off your bingo board. And then, so we make calls through September 25th because there's 25 squares. And because there's 26 letters in our alphabet, we have to eliminate a letter. And this year we eliminated the letter Y. So do one for every letter of the alphabet except for Y. And you have the last 5 days of the month to do any makeup work that you need to do. So you have a little bit, like a few days grace period, if you will. And then for every bingo that you get on your bingo board, you gain an entry to win prizes at the end of the month. So let's take a look at my board, and maybe that will help for people who are new or interested, not really sure how it works. So here's my board. Look at this. So when they're called, I colored in blue, and then when I finish the stitching, I put a red X through it, because what's going to happen is I'm going to Stitching in the Wild this week, and I'm not taking my pieces are a bit more, I don't know, they're just not good for retreat stitching, I feel like, and so I'm not going to take them with me, which means I'm going to have to use up, I think, every single day at the end of the month for makeup stitching. Now for me, so the rules are 1 hour or 100 stitches, whichever you track. For me though, the way I do these, just my rotations or my day of stitching, if you will, is usually 3 hours. So that's just my main piece for the night. And these are all pieces I want to finish because I'm working on them and whatever. So if it gets more time, I don't really mind because that makes me happy, right? So all of these X's are pieces that I've already put 3 hours in. W is the call for today, so I will be pulling that out today. Oh, I don't know if I pulled it, but we'll get back to that. So after I do today's, I just need an E, and I have my first bingo, which is very early. I mean, I don't know when E is going to be called, but like that's very early. Usually people's boards are like all over the place. And you can see I randomized the letters. You don't have to randomize the letters, but it's kind of fun to randomize them, or give it to like your kid or your grandkid to be like, put letters of the alphabet anywhere in the square minus the letter Y. Or some people have like their partners or their husbands or their wives do it too. Which is just kind of fun, but like I think this would be a fun kid project, right? Especially somebody who's like a kid who's learning their alphabet, and it's like, okay, write out my bingo board for me. So this is what mine looks like right now. And you don't have to use like this official bingo board. Like you could just draw it in a notebook if you want to, right? Like it doesn't have to be like the official board. It's just a 5 by 5 square. So I'm sure that's more information than you wanted, and those of you who are familiar with it are like, yeah, we know. But we make the calls in the event of, so if you go into Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group, and then you go to the event and say that you're going, right, to the event, and that's key, you have to say that you're going, and then check there for the daily calls. I usually call them, so I'm in the Pacific time zone, and I usually try to call them between like 3 and 6 p.m. my time, which I know is kind of late but especially for our friends in like Australia, New Zealand, like it's already the next day for them. The good news, and yes, we will still be doing calls at Stitching in the Wild. I'm taking everything with me so we can still do calls. The good news is that they will probably be a little bit earlier, just because I'll be on the East Coast time. I think they are. I think. I don't know. But we'll be doing calls. It might be a little more sporadic, but we'll still be doing calls. Okay? So Kathleen, I hope that helps answers that question. And for anybody who has been wondering, like, what is this? How do I join? It is not too late to join. Okay? Okay, so we talked about Biddy Bowl. My 25/7 piece this month is Black Cat Season by Lindy Stitches. I started this last year. There are 6 charts. I am on chart 4 out of 6. And this one is called House Panther. These are so cute. And it says, beware, House Panther, fierce and deadly. And it's a sweet kitty cat. So that's what it will look like. And I'm stitching this on a 32 count blackberry something from Grace Notes Fabrics. I'll have to look it up if you want to know. So these are the first 3. And then what I did this week is I worked on the curtains and I got the little kitty cat head in. It still needs its eyes and nose and whiskers, but I am running out of this color. This is Weeks Dye Works Ultraviolet, I think it is. So I'm going to have to pick up another skein. I'm hoping I can do that at Stitching in the Wild. I am planning on visiting their shop on Sunday, which I'm very excited about. So that's where we're at. So 25 minutes a day, making some progress here. I'm hoping to get this one done this month, number 4. This whole piece is on my Year of Whips. So I would like to, my plan is to finish it this year, and it should be doable, especially in October. I think I've scheduled some days to give it some love in October because it is kind of, it is a Halloween piece, right? Beware House Panther. It's called Black Cat Season, which is kind of Halloween. So we're going to give it some love in October, but I'm going to keep working on this, trying to get number 4 done. Then I will only have 2 more. They're small. They're really cute. When Candy was visiting, the 614 Stitcher, when she was visiting, she suggested, because they have this border. The border is free on Lindy Stitch's website. You have to go to the website. So that border is not included on the charts. This piece is meant to be you do one below the other, like a long kind of bell pull. I decided to do it as more of like a rectangle. And Candy so smartly said, wait until you get all these done to decide if you want a border underneath here. Because you may not need it. You may decide, like, you know what, it doesn't need a border at the bottom. And the more I'm looking, at first I was like, yeah, that's a good idea to wait and see. And at first I was like, I don't know, I think it's going to look funny. But more that this is filling in, I'm like, no, I think she's right. I may not need even like that bottom border. Because this is just like the separation, this border here. So let me know what you think. But that's where we are on Black Cat Season, number 4, House Panther. And I'm not saying House Panther was my idea. I am going to tell you, though. Here's my moment of bragging, people. I'm on Lindy Stitch's Facebook group, and she asked, and I remember it was a couple of years ago, and she asked about what are some common names for, like, people who have black cats, what are some common, like, names for them, or, like, personality features. She was designing this piece, right? And I said, black cats are often known as panthers or house panthers because they think they're very big and vicious and all of that. And they're like these like 9-pound little cute things with whiskers. And I'm not saying she used my idea, but I'm just saying house panther is the one I'm working on. Okay. It's all in good fun. Anyway, so I'm doing that for my 25/7 piece, which is 25 minutes a day about. Sometimes it's longer. It's usually longer if I can get it to be longer. But I'm not using that for any of the ABCingo. But for ABCingo, let's start our first call. So the first piece I worked on, and I can't remember which day I worked on what. This is G. Leger 1898 by Reflets des Soies. And I started this with Robin for Bird's Eye Stitches. I am up in this corner, right up in this corner. I have a long ways to go because I'm right up in here. It looks like I have a lot done. Like when I look at my piece, I'm like, wow, that's really good progress. And I look at this, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in this little tiny corner and I have all this to do. But that's okay. This counted for the X because I'm exchanging some motifs in here. I'm gonna swap out some of the motifs to just better represent me. And the I, why did I say I? Let's see, shall we? I know X was for exchanging motifs. Let me get my little cheat sheet out here. Oh, MPI silks, because this piece I am stitching in the called for MPI silks. Now, my fabric is a 32 count weathered stone by Atomic Ranch, and I think this fabric is so perfect with the MPI silks. So this is where I got to. I put in, you can see there, the GHI, the Y and the Z. I finished up that cursive B and I put in that C. These letters are so big. They take a long, I know typically letters are quick, but these take a very long time. These take me close to half an hour a piece to do because they're so big. These, of course, are faster. And then I pulled this border down, which does not look like much. And you know what's really funny is I thought in my head, I see these as little birds on a vine. I mean, and then I was stitching out, I'm like, very clearly those are leaves on a vine, not birds, but I still think of them as little birds. Don't they kind of look like little birds? You're like, no, Carolyn, they're very obviously leaves. So I pulled that down, which did take a little bit, finished up this B, did this C, and then GHIYZ. And then I did start, you can see up here, I started pulling the border over. So this got 2 days, so 6 hours. It's on my board 3 more times. I am loving working on this. I'm using MPI silks, and I am using 2 strands. If you look closely at this, it doesn't look really pretty. I'm going to be honest with you. The 2 strands of silk, I probably should only use 1, but I am not starting this over because this is a lot of work, even though it doesn't look like much. It's a lot of work. So I'm not going to start it over. And when you look at it from like the 3-foot rule, the 6-foot rule, it's beautiful. And I love how it pops. And, you know, I like brighter things. So like, I love this. Let me just use it as a bib. My silk cross stitch, I'll just use as a bib. Like, I love it, but I want it brighter, right? Because this is the original antique. And they do have the one change, one of the many changes I'm going to be making. But in this cursive alphabet, there are some different colors in this area. I think it's meant to like represent flowers or something. I'm not sure. I didn't like the way that it looked. It looked a little too stark or something. So I'm just doing them in solid colors. And there's enough going on in this piece that I think they won't look flat or anything like that. So this is G. Leir. I love it. It's so fun to work on. You just have to get out of your head that like, oh, it's alphabet. It's going to go super fast because these are not super fast. You know what I mean? But I'm excited. Like, I really only work on this during so this is also for Sampler September. That's how I chose my pieces for Sampler September for ABCingo. So most of them are going to be samplers. So it's really right now the only time I'm working on this, but it gets 5 days. So that's pretty good. 5 days a year is pretty good. But, you know, eventually I'm going to want to pick up that pace a little bit. And again, this is on Weathered Stone by Atomic Ranch. Where am I going to put? I'm running out of space. I have a long desk here, but I'm running out of space anyway. Okay. Next up, let me just open up in case I have more questions for myself. Next up is Antonia, Rosel y Garcia, 1886 by Jan Hicks Creates. This was called, I worked on this twice, the Q, and the Q was for the quantity of alphabets in this piece. I think I counted 6, there are 6 alphabets. So that's what I use for Q, and then J for Jan Hicks. And then this one also counts for the theme for the regular. I'm also like double dipping with the regular magazine monthly cross stitch challenge. We do a monthly theme and a monthly acrostic in addition to a challenge. So the theme for this month is back to school, and because there's so many alphabets, I was like, that's perfect. We learn our ABCs in school, so this also counted for my theme. So I completed the theme. Said 6 hours for the theme, and I worked on it twice. So I got the theme done, and I got my Q and J done. J for Jan Hicks. Okay. And I'm stitching this on a 32 count vintage smoky white. This one is still on the frame because I haven't taken it off yet. I think I worked on this last night, actually. So I worked on this twice. So one day was just pulling down this border here, which doesn't look like much, but that took me mostly 3 hours. I had to go back the next time it was called and put in the center flowers. There's like 4 little stitches in the center. 3 of them are one color and 1 of them is a different color. So I went down and did that. So I really focused on pulling down this border, and then I was able to go in and work on this alphabet here. Now, I spent some time, I am 1 row, this is 1 row off. The spacing between this alphabet and this alphabet, I am 1 stitch too far down, but it lines up over here correctly. So I did just start with the A, and I started it and then counted, and it's 1 stitch too long, but if I lift it up, it's going to be off over here, which maybe I should have done anyway, because it's better if it's off over here than at the bottom when maybe the border won't line up, but I don't know. And so then I was like, well, let me put the B in and see, and it's still 1 stitch too long. I cannot figure out where or why. This is correct. The spacing between these 2 rows are correct. This is all correct. It's literally just... Now, I could also be reading the chart wrong. So this is just the portion that it looks like. I could be reading the chart wrong because this part of this is on one page and then it flips over to the next page. And sometimes I do, even with it shaded, it is shaded out. Sometimes my brain has a hard time understanding it. So it could be that it's all accurate and I just am misreading the chart. But you can see, I'll show you where I'm at, which I forgot to do on here because it's just kind of hard to see. I'm using Vicky Clayton Silks, and there is a muted version and a color version. I'm doing the color version, and I'm right here I'm starting in on this alphabet right here. So you can see, this was on my year of whips. It's not going to get done this year. I'll tell you that much right now. But the nice thing about it is that the alphabets get easier as we go down, it seems. They get a little bit, the next alphabet, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of in cursive. So I'm working on this one right now. This one is in cursive and they're kind of big letters, but they're only 1 stitch wide. So that one will go fast. This one is tiny. I'm thinking this is the one I'm going to change the color and put my initials in, not the whole alphabet. And then it's her name and then this border, which takes a long time. This border it's beautiful, but it takes forever. So it's in the Q-snap. One of these days you'll see it out of the Q-snap to really see the progress, but got this border pulled down along with this little border, which is super easy. It's just every other. And then A, B, C, D, E, F. So this alphabet actually goes quite fast. So we've worked on it 2 days so far, and it'll get 3 more days of love. So I'm excited about that. Again, this is one that I really only pull out during Sampler September, even though it was on my year of whips for this year. Okay, next up was Camberly Sampler by Rosewood Manor. This was called. This is only on my my ABCingo board 3 times, and it's been called once. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Silvery Moon Lugana, and I love that fabric. That's one of my favorite fabrics. So I had already finished this when we started it. I think we start it as a Valentine's Day start a couple years ago, I think. I know Lynette she started over here maybe, but she has all this border done. She also works on it more than I do. So this was already done. I finished up this flower and started working down. So this flower I'm working on, and I'm starting the very bottom of this little bird. So there's a lot more to go, but I love this piece so much. So this was the H because there's a house. I am nowhere near the house, but there's a house. So that's how I made it fit for H. I love the pinks. I love Rosewood Manor. They're one of my favorite designers. Um, but look at how it's like soft and muted yet bright and colorful at the same time. I don't know what you would call that. But anyway, so I finished up this flower. There's a little bit more to go, and then I worked on the vines, and then I worked on this vine, and you can see the little tiny baby start of the bird. It's just so pretty and like delicate and bright. I love this piece. I mean, look at it. With those borders, the random borders, I just love it. I'm not changing anything. I'm using all the called for. It's DMC. The fabric is not called for, but the floss is called for. It's just DMC. I love that little butterfly. So we worked on this one day, and I'm excited for it to be called again, so that we can give some love to it. Okay. So that is Camberly Sampler. Next up was called Twisted Band Sampler. And that was you. So let me show you. Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needlework. So this is what it will look like. There are two versions of this. There's one version that is all cross stitches. I started this with Candy, the 614 stitcher. She is doing that version. I am doing the version that has every other row is specialty stitches, and then the opposite rows are cross stitches. So so you see the butterflies here? I'm in this row, right? The band right after the butterflies. I'm in that row. And U stands for, because it's a really unique piece, because it's on the diagonal and all of that. So, okay, let me show you. I was very nervous to pull this out because it's my ability to or inability to read charts, and I had a lot of, when I went and did this row of specialty, I had a really hard time knowing where to place this row. And so that took me a really long time to figure out. Now, you can kind of see, so this stitch here is in the middle there. It's very hard to see. So this is a rice stitch, this one over here that I'm pointing at. And there are two rows of rice stitch. They're just in different colors. Then, and again, I had a very hard time placing the second row and figuring that out. There are great directions in here. Like, I don't remember that that's called a rice stitch. I'm using my directions. There's very good directions. You just have to take your time. It's just a different skill set from like just sitting down and stitching, which is fun. I mean, it's good. It's good for my brain, right? And then on the outside, what do they say? Outside in. So scallop stitches, rice stitches, and raised stitches. You stitch the rice stitches first, which is what you can see. I'm starting that over there. Because the legs of the other stitches will cover holes you'll need for your race stitches. Then you stitch the outer part of the band, the scallop, which is this side. I don't know. Let me see which is these stitches. That was super easy to put in. It just took a while because we're kind of our diagonals are getting longer, but that was very easy. I was very happy. That was what I worked on, was this side of the scallop stitches, because I had the rice stitches for this first diagonal already in. And it went really smoothly, really easy, and I was very happy with that. So we did that. That was the scallop stitch. And then, I have to look. Then I had to do, so then the other side is ray stitch, which is similar to scallop stitch, and I think that's kind of what messed me up. Because like, if you look at it, they look very similar. It's smaller and not as, I don't know if you can see. So it's fuller on one side and not as full on the other side, because one is a scallop, the one over here near the butterflies is scallop, and the one over here is the ray stitch. So I got that done. So I got both sides done. So this border is done, but there's a second one that you do just the same, and so I started working on that. So again, it doesn't look like I got much done in 3 hours of work. It's basically the left side, the right side, and I started on the right stitch. But I kind of know what I'm doing now on this row. And this will come out 4 more times, I guess, because we've only worked on it once. So it will come out 4 more times. So I should be able to get this band done, and then then we're rewarded, if you will, with, so that, again, this is the row I'm working on, and so then we'll be rewarded with a cross stitch row. I don't think we're quite at, right, like, I think, is this the longest band, or maybe, I don't know. This must be the longest band because it's in the corner. So we're not quite at the longest band yet, but this is stitched on a 32 count color and cotton. I don't know the colorway. I have lost the tag, so I don't know, but I know it's color and cotton, and I know it's 32 count. This is all DMC. I don't love the brown, I'm going to be honest with you, but I mean, it's like a reddish brown, but I don't love it. I just don't like that brown. But I'm not pulling that out. I'll tell you that. And I think it'll look fine once everything is in it together. Like, it'll be less noticeable, but just because I'm on that band, like, it's like, oh, this is brown. And I thought my needle minder, which EJ got for me when she was at Stitchville, USA, I thought that was just absolutely perfect for this piece. Oofda. But it is going very smoothly, and I'm very excited now to work on it. I was kind of like not dreading it, just this piece makes me nervous, which I think is good, right? Like, it's good. I'm learning stitches. I'm learning how to like read the stitches and on the pattern. I'm learning. So that's good. So that is everything that I worked on. So pretty good, right? I feel good about it. Haul, I have the smallest bit of haul and Stitchy Kindness. I got my Weeks Dye Works Floss Frenzy from Fat Quarter Shop. These are this month's colors. It includes Holly, which is this front green right here, kind of like an evergreen green. Honeysuckle, which is that yellow. Hunter, which I think is this green back here. Icicle, which we can't really see. Do you see that blue, that really icy blue? That's Icicle. Iris, which you can kind of see is the purple. Well, can't really see it, but if you can see purple on your screen, right in there. And then Isla Morada is this like turquoisey color. So that I got in the mail. And then my friend Linda reached out to me and said, hey, I have a piece of linen that I'm not going to use. Would you like it? I was like, yes, please. And so that arrived in the mail. It is gorgeous. It's a huge piece. Look at that. It's a huge piece. Beautiful, beautiful linen. Beautiful, like, it's a gorgeous piece. It's like kind of like rust. Well, I know linen is kind of always rustic, but it's a beautiful piece. It's like it's not quite full white. It's like a cream or antique white. I don't know the stitch count. It didn't have a tag on it, and she and I were talking about it. She's like, what stitch count do you think it is? I think it's a 28 is going to be my guess, is that it's a 28 count. That's what it looks like to me. So, Linda, thank you so much for sharing this with me. This will definitely go in my stash, and it will definitely be put to good use. So thank you for that. That's all I have for haul. Okay, let's do giveaways. So we'll do the giveaways, but we won't be giving anything away this week because I'll be out of town. But we gave away the Immortal chart. A lot of you were excited about this. The winner is Schnitzel Stitches 3269. So Schnitzel Stitches, it's hard to say. If you could please email me at czookstitch@gmail.com with your address, I will get this sent out to you. If you're still waiting on something or a confirmation email from me, which I know I have a bunch of unread emails in my inbox, yes, I have not sent things out, but I'm going to try to get it sent out this weekend if I can, so that everything is out and on its way before I leave for Stitching in the Wild. Okay, next up was this booklet, Seasonal Memories from the World of Cross Stitching, and the winner is Kathleen Kopgog, Kopgog, or Kopagog, 6930. So Kathleen is the one who asked me to explain ABCingo. So thanks for your question, Kathleen, and you are the winner of this. So please send me your address as well. Okay, so let's continue what we're going to do. So today's Saturday. I leave early Wednesday morning, like 5 a.m. flight early. I'm going to continue working ABCingo until I leave. Summer Montage has not been called yet. It is on my board 3 times. So it felt really funny last Sunday to be like, okay, it did. I really felt it. Like, I can't remember what piece I worked on. G. Leger. So I worked on G. Leger was called 2 days in a row. So I was like, okay, this is great. And, I enjoy working on it, but it's like, it's weird that it's Sunday and I'm not working on a montage piece. So those they'll be coming at some point. So continue with ABCingo till I leave and continue with Black Cat. I wrote down in my notes Black Cat Alphabet. That is not what it's called. I must have had Alphabet on my mind. Black Cat Season. Continue working on that. I am not taking Black Cat Season with me to Stitching in the Wild. The pieces I'm going to take, I will show you those now. I'm going to take 3 pieces to Stitching in the Wild. I'm going to take Home of a Needleworker. Sandy sent this chart to me. Well, she sent me a bunch of charts, and she was like, keep what you want, give away what you want. This one I kept, so thank you, Sandy. By Little House Needleworks. Candy is also working on this. We started this together last September, I believe. Yeah, I think it was last September 1st, so a year and 1 week ago, exactly. And so this is on my Year of Whips this year. I think hers is as well. And I'll show you my progress. I just basically have the house to do, but I mean, it's a house, so there's a lot of stitching. And then there's like, you see this stem floral thing. There's one over here, and then it's done. And I have the bottom border. So it's almost done, and I put my little kitty cats in there. So I did do some modifications. But I put my little kitty cats in there. I used the kitty cats from Lynette Peters, did a chart called Carolyn and Her Cats, and I just used the same cats. And I made one a gray tabby and one a black Jack cat. And I'm changing some, I think I'm just using colors I had on hand for this. It's just, I don't know. The colors aren't, I mean, some of them are what it's called for, some of them are not. I think I'm changing the house color. I can't remember. But, well, blue is my favorite color. And my house growing up was blue. So I don't think I'm using that blue. I think it's going to be this blue. I think it's dungarees. I'm not sure. So I'm going to take that and see if I can get some work on it. But I do have 4 days kind of planned for this, I think in October, to finish this up. So hopefully that will be enough time. I'm also taking Trust the Universe by the Snowflower Diaries. This is also on my Year of Whips. We're going to try to get her done. I don't think she'll get done at Stitching in the Wild. I mean, again, this is why I'm saying, if you see me up and walking around and not stitching at Stitching in the Wild, if you're going to be there, tell me to go sit down and stitch, okay? So she's done. I'm over here in this corner. So I have to finish up this border, which won't take long because it's literally one stitch wide. But it's really hard to see. There's another chunk of white in here. And so that will take a little bit of time. But I'll show you her. This is also my Year of Whips. So I want to get her done. So there'll be some white in here and then the flower and then bringing the border down. So we're getting close, but I'd like to give her some love. She was my mental health May start either last year or the year before. I'm not loving the color I picked to outline the goose or whatever it is. So I know it's hard to pick out back stitching. I might pull that out though and change it. So if you have a good color, I don't know what I'm using. It's probably just DMC white. I think it's just white is what I'm using, or maybe B5200. If you have a good suggestion for what color I should outline, because I'm not it's too stark. It's too stark. Let me know. But yeah, so I'm going to take Trust the Universe. Now, the one that I'm really hoping to give some love to, I have on my acrostic, not my ABCingo board, but my acrostic to give 6 hours this month to Our Hearts. This is by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. This is also on my Year of Whips. It's also one I want to finish this year. Where am I? I basically have to figure out what I'm going to do for the initials. I think I'm going to do, what I'm thinking is either my parents' initials, which I might do, my grandparent, I don't know. Or I might do like a couple of friends that I grew up with, is also what I'm thinking because of the saying, right? So basically, I just have these two motifs to do, figure out what I'm going to do for the initials, and then the rest of this. But these are words, so I'm hoping they'll go fast. This is on my Year of Whips. This is on a 32 count Platinum Lugana, so this is where I'm at. This one I want to try to get 6 hours in at Stitching in the Wild because I have no other time because of ABCingo and because I'm not taking my ABCingo pieces with me because they're all like, samplers. They're just, it's not good retreat stitching. So this I'm hoping to get 6 hours on. Okay. So if you see me, you like, Carolyn, show me our hearts and it better look different than this. Okay. So that's what I'm taking. Just three pieces. And we'll have Thursday. Well, I get in Wednesday afternoon. It's going to be, I don't know what kind of shape I'll be in. Maybe I can sleep on the plane. We'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I'm going to be at their shop. I'm going to go to their shop on Sunday, and I come home Monday. So no video next week. It is wild to say that the next video will be September 21st. It's just 2 weeks away. We're only skipping 1 week because of that. But it's already going to be the 21st. What? And I hope it will be cooler here, and I hope it will be, like, rainy. And we're going to start, like, I think that weekend, we're going to start decorating for fall. Maybe a little Halloween. I never know what to do with it. Like, do I do fall and then a week later put out Halloween? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what we end up doing. But it very much does not feel like fall at all right now. It's going to get cooler and rainy, like, when I leave for Alabama. So that's fun. Okay, the call for tonight was W. And I'm going to work on With the Needle, which I don't have in front of me, but I did show it last week. It's by Lila's Studio, W for With the Needle. So that will be good to get some work on it tonight. Football season is underway, so there's a Nebraska-Colorado game this afternoon that I want to watch if I get my chores done ahead of time. So that is what's going on, and I'm working Monday and Tuesday and flying to Stitching in the Wild on Wednesday. If you're going to be at Stitching in the Wild, please come say hi to me. Like, I don't always recognize you because I might recognize your name, but, like, I don't know what you look like. So please come say hi to me. Free hugs. I give free hugs if you want one. If not, a handshake is fine, or just a fist bump, or whatever you prefer. But I love hugs, so if you just walk up to me with your arms open wide, I might just walk into them. I'm really, as I say, I'm really not weird, but, let's be honest. If you've been with me for a while, you know the real deal. All right, everyone, I'm going to go before I say any more. But I hope you have a great 2 weeks, and I can't wait to see you at Stitching in the Wild if you're going. And I can't wait to share with you everything when I get back. Bye.